Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. 24 hours a day, it seems like. What it is. That was weird. My lips had to catch up with me. I think that happened for you guys too. What it is, everybody. October 22nd, 2017. First day in the rest of your lives. Let me make sure I'm not blowing out your eardrums. I think you're okay. Okay, great. Thank you for joining me. You may have joined me earlier. Sometimes you may join me for my research streams, which I do sometimes in the earlier part of the day. That won't be happening. Well, it might be actually when I get back to California. One day closer to being back in California, having Doshi around. It's happening. It will be happening. It was cold today in London. That's where I'm broadcasting from. Cross dimensions, time zones, intermolecular, eternal. The Lift the Veil Show. Your host, Nathan Stoltman, here to bring you the real shit every day, except for Saturdays and then some random days in the middle of whatever. But I would do it, you know, Saturday. I just take Saturdays off because it's Jewish. I'm not real. What's up, everybody? Here's the big news. I'll give you the big news. I'm not going to be doing maybe as much Vegas today. More about how the economy is going to collapse. Lots of different stories about it. It was the 30-year anniversary of the 1987 single day biggest crash, Black Monday. That happened on Thursday, I believe. All kinds of geopolitical events, especially in Catalonia, which could make the stock market crash, theoretically. I'm going to play some video from some guys who are more bearish on the markets talking about why everything is going to collapse and we're in the biggest bubble of all time. I think it's important. I think it might be timely. It seems like there is some agreement that while you can't say something's going to happen tomorrow, people are saying that thing. Well, I can't say it's not going to happen tomorrow, but they're thinking to themselves, it could happen tomorrow. I think is what people are thinking right now. They think it's going to take some kind of external shock of some sort, but it's hard to say because this crazy shit happens like Brexit and all these things, and North Korea launching missiles and Donald Trump doing Twitter, and nothing ever happens to the stock market. Well, anyway, I'll play some of that. That's a little bit about what we're going to go over today. Just to tell you what the news will be. The news from here is I thought I'd be doing a show on YouTube today. So I'm not trying to it's not like take backsies or whatever. It's still, Twitch is still the thing, no matter what. No matter what. But I'm gonna be a bit of a YouTube vigilante. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm gonna go on YouTube. So here's the deal. So let's look. I can show you on the channel, which is now called Lift the Veil Live. Okay. This is the channel page, and it says I have a community guideline strike with that face, which isn't quite happy. And it says that it expires on October 22nd, 2017, which is today, October 22nd, 2017. So I thought I'd be able to live stream today since it expires on, but it seems like it'll expire at the end of the day, which is interesting because if it goes based on where I am, I'll be in tomorrow 8 hours sooner than California will, for example, 5 hours sooner than New York. So I was thinking I may test it out because I'm going to have to dual stream. So it's my third backup channel, Lift the Veil Live it's called now. It was called Lift the Veil Classic. Sorry, second backup channel, third channel overall. The strike is about to clear where I can live stream. So I'm planning to do that tomorrow. And what I plan to do is talk about Las Vegas and talk about pulling together a lot of the research we've done over the last 3 weeks, because no one can talk about it on YouTube. So I thought it'd be kind of cool is I'll go on YouTube and talk about it, do a live show, have people call in about it, say whatever we can say normally anyway, if they weren't being unreasonable. Just stay within the lines and everything, but take phone calls, get people tuned in. Then as soon as the show's over, delete it, so I don't get strikes. So then I can keep live streaming until they figure out a way to cancel that, which they probably will. So, but I'm not planning to break any rules or anything. I'm just saying that's what I'm going to do. On this other channel, Lift the Veil Live, it's called now. Was Lift the Veil Classic. Subscribe to it. But still, I think it's easier for you guys to watch on Twitch. I'm kind of split-minded about it, because what I would be great is to get a lot of people tuned in live on YouTube. And in some ways it helps then if there are more numbers, but I think it'll work itself out. Everybody will decide on their own where they want to be, where they're the most comfortable. We'll get phone calls, stuff like that. But still, YouTube, they're not going to stay on YouTube. The videos will be on Twitch after the fact, immediately, and they're not going to be on YouTube anymore. So that's the reason for Twitch. And then we can maybe get more people who are watching on YouTube to watch over on Twitch. And then hopefully get people, more artists, creators, creating here on Twitch, which is easy enough. Globebusters could be on Twitch right now. Oh, I just went over to Globebusters because they're live. They have 1,100 people tuned in right now talking about the flat Earth, which I don't think is flat anymore, but it looks like it. It looks like it. So don't get mad at me. I just think I heard there's a pole star in the south, and if there's a pole star, then a lot of the sacred texts and stuff do refer to a sphere, but I don't think it's simple. It's not simple. It's not simple. It's not like we live on a ball that's spinning around an axis and then spinning around the sun. That's not it at all. It's not even close. But it may not be so simple as the flat. There's another show, though, where people do think it is that simple, and there are 1,100 people tuned in right now. And I'd like to be on that show, but they have another guest already. Maybe I'll check into it from time to time. What else will we talk about? Okay, so that's the news with YouTube. So that's tomorrow. I mean, I want to make it a huge event. You know, I don't want to get too optimistic because I do about things. But it would be great if it could be huge. You know, everybody tunes in to hear about Vegas. And I can go over all kinds of stuff that nobody else can put on YouTube. And I can talk about it. And then the video's gone. Be like a real, intense live event. And take phone calls. Right? Does that sound cool? I'm not looking at the chat. Spinning ball is crumbling. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. I'm sure everybody wants to talk about the flat Earth. Well, we got phone calls the last show. Depending on if we have enough people tuned in, people could call in about the flat Earth. We haven't talked about it as much lately. It's not. Listen, I'm not a glober. I'm not a globe earther for sure. But it might be a globe in shape in some way. Some way. Don't get mad. Okay. So I said I'd talk to you guys about the financial collapse. I just think there are a lot of articles about it. I'm trying to think if you're on Zero Hedge, it's every day they talk about how things are going to crash. But I just noticed it's coming up more and more. Like, for example, if I just go on Zero Hedge right now, here is the IMF's global financial crash scenario. Concerns about a continuing buildup in debt loads and overstretched asset valuations could have global economic repercussions. Okay, and so they look at, so they drew up a scenario in case that happens, and it could happen. So anyway, I'm going to show you a little video of some guys explaining what's going to happen and what they think, and that it's a big bubble and all of that. I'm going to start right here.
A building of concern, and that usually means that in the coming 12 months, let's say, things are likely to change dramatically.
If you look at all of the different constituencies of the market today, it resembles the portfolio insurance debacle of '87 on steroids. So what it's going to take to set this off, we think, is a 4 or 5% decline in equities immediately becomes a 10 or 15% decline. And so I think that's what you have to look for. When that happens, we're not exactly sure. But if it happens, if you see the equity markets crack 4 or 5 points, buckle up, because I think you're going to see a pretty interesting air pocket. And I don't think investors are ready for that.
Buying the stock market today is essentially taking an incredible amount of risk, at least as much risk as investors have ever taken in the stock market in the past, for the prospect of, I see it as zero reward, zero potential reward over the next 10 years. Is a very, very high probability that you make no money and maybe even lose money. I think there's a lot of parallels today to the early 2000 experience. And after 2000, stock market went down, 15% or something over the next 10 years. Gold went up 300-400%. And I think we're seeing we're in the midst of a very similar situation right now, where there's all risk, no reward in stocks. And so if you're using the stock market as a part of a diversified portfolio, I can understand that. But people who are, over-invested in equities and or have home country bias or something like that, are going to learn a very painful lesson over the next few years.
We're going to have the worst bear market of your lifetime, of my lifetime even, next time around. Whether it starts this year or next, and it'll probably start next year, if not this year, it will be the worst of your lifetime. Because in 2008, we had a pretty bad bear market, but there's too much debt. The debt is much, much, much higher now. In 2008, the Chinese had a lot of money saved for a rainy day, and they started spending it when it rained. Even the Chinese have a lot of debt now. So there's nobody left to save us.
We think that the answer to the question of the vol event coming onto the horizon is twofold. The first being geopolitically. It feels like geopolitically we're kind of coming to a boil with our relationship with North Korea and then with China. Things are worsening. Our trade relationship with China is worsening. Our relationship, whatever it may be, with North Korea continually worsens. And we've got 3 people at the heads of these 3 countries that are all there to try to make their countries great again. And I think that's a real risk geopolitically. But when we think about financially, which is actually easier to calculate, the financial reason is from the G4 central banks going from a period of accommodation to a period of tightening. And that's net of bond issuance. And so, we've talked about this before, but I think that it's important to think about accommodation going from $500 billion of accommodation in 2016 to $1 trillion worth of a draw in 2018 or more, depending on how the ECB tapers. That will have a profound effect on various asset markets. That will have a profound effect on vol.
This guy's a little boring. I had a little bit more from this, but I think you get really the idea. There's just mainly one guy that I like from this whole thing. I took notes of where I wanted to play it. Might just have to play it because it's interesting. Let me jump ahead to here. This one guy is my favorite. Play.
Even though the economy overall looks relatively okay right now, many of our experts were concerned that things were not as good as seemed.
In America, we traditionally have had problems every 4 to 8 years since the beginning of the Republic. Doesn't mean we have to, but we always have. Maybe it's going to be 18 years now. before we have problems. I doubt it. But this business cycle has not been wildly strong. This bull market in stocks, in some stocks, has been very, very strong. So the underlying reality of the stock market is based on artificial money printing. It's not real. It's artificial. And when it all pops, it's going to affect the economy, the real economy, and it's going to affect the financial markets. Remember, a lot of property in America has had a big, big rally since 2008. If interest rates go higher, interest rates are zero. Rising interest rates have always hurt property. So next time around, you're going to have property with problems again. You're going to have stocks with problems again. You're going to have bonds with problems again. Bonds, the last time we had an economic problem, were not a disaster because the interest rates that were already still fairly high, so they could drive bonds higher and higher. You can't do it this time around. So you're going to have stocks, bonds, and property suffering next time around, which will probably mean some currencies will suffer around the world. No, it's not going to be fun.
The things that are...
Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so that's what I think is about right. I'll give you, he focused on debt. I wish I had that guy's name. But he focused on debt, and the truth is, we can't pay next time. There's no bailout next time. So it's just everybody has to eat it. There's a story about debt today. People aren't going to be able to pay their bills. And the only way to pay them is to print money. So they might print money, which just makes gold and silver good investments. Cryptocurrency too, possibly. Okay. Hold on a sec. Oh, I wonder if it's on the front page. Something about suing Devos. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'll find it for you. Oh, hold on. Maybe I should read this news as long as I'm here. It sounds like it's big news. And by the way, I'm just saying this, why I'm talking about this today is it's just because it seems like it's everywhere. If you look here, the top left story, which is kind of a sponsored story still on their page. Gold is cheap and U.S. recession may be closer than you think. Now is the time people are going to be telling you to buy silver and gold. And if you're crazy, cryptocurrency. Because when shit hits the fan, it's good to have some sound money. Okay, I'm just going to read this headline because I ran into it. Air Force to recall up to 1,000 retired military pilots after Trump unexpectedly revises September 11th executive order. In an unexpected development, President Donald Trump has signed an executive order allowing the Air Force to recall up to 1,000 retired pilots to address what the Pentagon has described as an acute shortage of pilots. Wow, Fox News reported. The order with which Trump signed Friday amends an emergency declaration signed by George W. Bush in the days after the September 11, 2001 attacks. The Air Force is only allowed to recall up to 25 pilots under current law. The order signed by Trump temporarily removes that cap for all branches of the military. A Pentagon spokesman, Navy Commander Gary Ross, said in a statement that the Air Force is currently, quote, short approximately 1,500 pilots of its requirements, unquote. That number includes approximately 1,200 fighter pilots. What do we need all these fighter pilots for? Quote, we anticipate that the Secretary of Defense will delegate the authority to the Secretary of the Air Force to recall up to 1,000 retired pilots for up to 3 years, unquote. And then, quote, the pilot supply shortage is a national level challenge that could have adverse effects on all aspects of both the government and commercial aviation sectors for years to come. Oh, it says right now the Air Force doesn't intend to do it. Huh, weird. Quote, the Air Force does not currently intend to recall retired pilots to address the pilot shortage. We appreciate the authorities and flexibility delegated to us, unquote. Wow, how weird is that? Huh. That's weird. That is weird. That's a weird story. I wonder what that's about. Okay. Well, just I've been saying it for a while. All of us, everybody's been thinking for a while, when's the end coming? When's the collapse coming? There is something structurally in the stock market that sets it up for a big bang. And then the thing about that in and of itself, it doesn't necessarily have to make the whole world crazy, but it's all kind of happening at the same time. So that's, we can't pay pensions. Government pensions aren't supported. They're not funded. They're not paid for. The only way to pay the bills, if we want to pay them, they're unpayable, would be to print more money. If we print more money, then you have inflation. And if you have inflation, then gold and silver go up. And maybe crypto. And that's why people like me tell you about those things and tell you prepare for the end of the world. It doesn't have to be bad. I mean, depends on what you own. And if your retirement is pension based, we're going to have to find a new way forward, a way with sound money. We owe debt, that's going to need to get wiped out somehow. It's going to need to get wiped out because they're not going to be able to throw people out of their homes again. I don't think. Not like last time. Foreclosing on everybody again. I don't think that's going to work. The article I was going to read you was about college loans. Let me see. Oh, because who was involved in a lawsuit against him was Richard Spencer, I think, suing Davos college loans. Said here. Okay, great. Richard Spencer. So this is about debt. Davos is sued by 17 states, Richard Spencer and colleges, race and student loans. Oh, I see. This is 3 different stories. Okay. The first one is that Davos is sued by 17 states. And here it talks about how student loans go. Okay. How black graduates especially struggle to repay student loans. One thing that happens, and I noticed it in the black community in particular, is that, but it's all over with people who don't know what to do, can't afford school, don't have a job. So you can get a loan to go to school, and then these for-profit schools will help hook you up with a loan. So then you have money to live while you're theoretically going to school, and then you're going to get a better degree and yada, yada, yada. People get their degrees from these places after they borrow all this money, and they don't really make any more money, and they never pay the loans off. So that's why they're getting sued. They said as far as African Americans, says the typical African American who took out student loans in 2003, 2004 owed even more money, not less, after a dozen years. Nearly half of all African American borrowers ultimately defaulted on their loans, compared with 29% for all students. The defaulters included 75% of African Americans who left for-profit colleges. Now, I think these colleges deliberately market to the black community. It's not to say there's not personal responsibility for this stuff, but I do think it's predatory in general for whoever signs up for it. They say 29% of people default on their loans in the first place, which is really high. And anyway, they're going to get sued. Betsy DeVos is being sued for rolling back. She's a secretary of what? Education secretary. She made a decision to suspend rules that would make it easier to go after these colleges or easier to pay loans back. One of the rules was supposed to allow students to get their loans forgiven if the college is found to engage in fraudulent behavior. A situation that's befallen tens of thousands of students at Corinthian colleges and ITT Technical Institute, among others. Lots of fake schools, but even big schools are supported by these loans, college loans, which don't pay for themselves anymore. You don't get the value out of it. It's one of those things. They shouldn't be loaning the money in the first place. That's the thing. There's counterparty risk when you lend, between loaning and borrowing money. And the person loaning the money is supposed to have some risk too, and they're giving away the money as if there's no risk and leaving it all on the borrower. And then they'll blame them, right? Anyway, that's some financial stuff. Silver, if you want to prepare for it, if you think it might happen. Cash, having your money not invested in equities, or real estate's going to get hit. Everything's going to be hit. So one of the things that might spark that is that Spain has decided to remove Catalonia leader and their whole government, actually. Spain will remove the leader, escalating secession crisis. And they move to strip the autonomy. They're removing the entire leadership, and they're going to initiate a process of direct rule by the central government in Madrid. And last night, the Catalan leader, I forgot his name, Puigdemont, he was saying that it was like a coup. This is a big deal with Catalonia splitting off, and now the government reacting like this. This is just crazy. It has ramifications for anybody else who wants to do the same thing, for Brexit, and for the European Union. And that affects globalism, basically. And it's one of those external things that should shake things up. Eventually, we're going to see a reset, and it's going to be set off by something. And then, do we get into wars or something after that? Hard to say. Hard to say. Okay, so I'm doing the news today, it sounds like. That's good. It'll be that kind of a show. I want to say that, people are interested in this stuff where you can't boycott Israel. Some hurricane victims say they have to sign something that says they won't support Israel, this one city in Texas. And that's something that's been passed a lot of places in this country, where in order to work with the government or to take money from the government, you have to say and sign that you will not boycott Israel. In this case, it says you won't take action to penalize, inflict economic harm on, or limit commercial relations specifically with Israel. It's totally against the First Amendment. But here's the contract. By executing this agreement below, the applicant verifies that the applicant, 1, does not boycott Israel, and 2, will not boycott Israel during the term of this agreement. It's totally against the First Amendment. But similar rules have been approved in at least 20 U.S. states and New York City. But most specify a ban on companies that push back against Israel. Anyone who boycotts Israel, they get banned. The state laws are a broad response to a global campaign called the Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions Movement, which uses economic pressure to force Israel to stop building settlements on Palestinian land. Kansas approved a stronger version of the law in July. It prohibits the state from entering into a contract with any individual or company boycotting Israel. For instance, requiring school teachers to declare support of Israel. Oh, man, that's crazy. This is in Newsweek. So that's a story that made people nuts. Now I'm going to tell you what's going on in the sexual harassment front, and from the New York Times. The New York Times, once again, lifting the veil to some extent. O'Reilly already had been shoved out because of these sexual harassment claims becoming known. He got thrown out, and Roger Ailes had to step down, all because of it. But this points out, I guess the New York Times got some information about what the payouts were, when they happened, and what the result of it was. It says that in January, that O'Reilly agreed to a payout of $32 million with one former network analyst. $32 million. And then the following month, in February, 21st Century Fox began contract negotiations with him and granted him a 4-year extension that paid $25 million a year. And that was the 6th, this is what the article says, it was at least the 6th agreement, and by far the largest, made by either Mr. O'Reilly or the company to settle harassment allegations against him. Despite that record, 21st Century Fox began contract negotiations with Mr. O'Reilly, and in February granted him a 4-year extension that paid $25 million a year. So it's a hit piece against Fox, but it's another piece, just like their Weinstein piece, that exposes not just the bad behavior itself, but how the bad behavior is sanctioned then by other people, and how people are complicit with the bad behavior. In this case, they're the employer, Fox News, 21st Century Fox. How even after he settled a $32 million lawsuit, I mean, in which she was accused here, they included allegations of repeated harassment, a non-consensual sexual relationship, and the sending of gay pornography and other sexually explicit material to her, according to the people briefed on the matter. Gay pornography, huh? I mean, who are these creeps that are at the top of everything, you know? I think that's what's happening. The veil is lifting. Now, whether it's the New York Times going after somebody, whether they had the green light all of a sudden to go after these people, there will be all kinds of conspiracy theories about it. I'm sure, especially from people like you. But I think it's good. It's all good. I think revealing these scumbags, I guess for lack of a better word, bad actors, bad behaviors, and the people who support them is a good thing. And I think it's all part of the thing. Like I've been telling you guys, ever since Las Vegas, the veil is lifting. Stuff is coming out. Stuff's coming out. Tarantino finally talked about Weinstein. I didn't read this the day the news came out. He was notably silent for a long time, didn't say anything. And when he finally came out here in the New York Times, he said in the headline, quote, "I knew enough to do more than I did." And the idea of the article basically is that he admits that he should have said something, and that he says in here, quote, "There was more to it than just the normal rumors, the normal gossip. It wasn't secondhand. I knew he did a couple of these things. I wish I had taken responsibility for what I heard. If I had done the work I should have done then, I would have had to not work with him," unquote. I think that means spiritual work or something, or personal work, saying that if he had done the personal work he should have done, that he would have had to not work with him. And so some people came out and said that Tarantino was sanctioned the behavior and that he was disgusting because of that. Yet there are a bunch of people just like Tarantino who knew exactly what was going on also, who are acting surprised, you know. So I think Tarantino said the right thing. He didn't do the right thing, but nobody did the right thing. Nobody else, you know, there were a lot of people who knew what was going on with Harvey Weinstein. People a lot closer to him than Tarantino, probably. So I think he said the right thing. It's good. You know, makes you think. He admits that he didn't do it perfectly. He says one thing in here that I thought was an interesting quote. Oh yeah, quote, what was previously accepted is now untenable to anyone of a certain consciousness, unquote. Which it points out that the consciousness has raised. People won't put up with this stuff anymore. As much as it seems like everything's the worst and people have the worst morals ever, it's not true. People don't want to put up with this stuff anymore. They're ready. People are ready to look at this stuff and say, hey, we don't want to do it anymore. I think so. I really do. If you look at the world, you'll think that we're in the craziest time ever. People are the worst ever. They're not. I think maybe they're the best ever. You just have really, really evil people being run by evil spirits. But overall, the collective consciousness is better. It's working. What you're doing is working. And what you're doing, hopefully, is trying to raise your vibrations, by praying or meditating, doing good things, thinking about the things you do and doing good things. That changes things like this stuff that's happening. It's because of you, really. I mean, really. Everything depends on the observer. You're the observer. You create this reality. And me too. And that's why it's awesome. Lift the veil. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. Somehow. Not saying it's me, but I'm saying it is. It's me. It's you. It's everybody else who's chipping into the fight right now. Okay. I have some new stuff. Like I said, I'm going to be on YouTube tomorrow. I don't know whether you want to catch me there or catch me here. It doesn't matter. Probably, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if it goes any way well. I think people are going to be looking to find out about Vegas. So I'm going to talk about Vegas tomorrow. So warning. But I think my internet went down. I don't know. It looks like I'm back up now. Hopefully we'll get people on. It says unable to connect with the chat. Okay. Well, that's a good sign to end it. To take phone calls if people want to call. Yeah. If people want to call. Otherwise, it'll just be a short show. I had a few people call last time. Man, I'm looking for... There. Okay. Doshi will be back soon. California. Discord link. I can put that up too. My back hurts. Hurting sitting in this chair for some reason. Oh wow, holy shit. Uh-oh. Might be a prank call. I'll take it. Might be a prank call. This is Nathan. Hello, it's Nathan. Hello? You're on the air. Ah, shoot. I was hoping at least it would be a good prank call. But I'm not supposed to take calls from unknown numbers. Doesn't work out very well. I bet there's not a million people tuned in right now. But it's cool. I'm getting more and more people. Man, am I on the internet? There we go. I don't know what just happened. Oh, I'll answer it just because. This is Nathan. You're on the air. Oh, man. Hello? You're on the air. Hello? Can't hear anything. Hey, beautiful love. You're the unknown number? How come I can't hear you? Did you guys have trouble with the stream? I said I wasn't connected to the chat. I don't even see what happened. Anything happened? That was bad? I'm just taking calls now. The regular show's over. So that's cool. It was short and stuff. I won't go into Vegas until tomorrow. I might see if I can live stream at midnight. Just because I need to try out the system anyway and promote the show. Only when I mentioned Vegas. It's funny. That's funny. Well, I'm going to be talking about Vegas on YouTube tomorrow, if everything goes as planned. Let me see how many people are tuned in. Probably aren't very many. Oh, there are only 27 people. Holy shit. There are only 27 people tuned in. This is Nathan. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Am I on the call? You got me?
Yeah, I got you. What's up?
I was just calling to say what's up. You had a pretty good show tonight.
Thanks, man. Did you find me on Twitch or something, or have you been watching the show for a while?
Yeah, I've been watching for a long time.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
Yeah, and I'm on the Discord, and I'm a patron.
Oh, awesome. Who are you in the chat?
Chronic.
Oh, okay. What's up? Okay, cool. Now I know what's going on. How's it going, Chronic?
Yeah, pretty good. I don't know. I just thought I'd just call in and say what's up.
Oh, okay. What are your thoughts? Well, why don't I ask you this? What are your thoughts about? Do you have any thoughts about cryptocurrency? Just curious.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So, I think if we have any hope for a sound financial future, and if geopolitics don't fuck up, if the West doesn't fall apart and destroy itself, if the bubble doesn't burst, and we do have a prosperous future, we're going to need things like cryptocurrency. Well, but we're going to need it either way, but we can utilize cryptocurrency in a way to replace things. Like financial systems right now are extremely complex, and cryptocurrency has like everything that you need for modern banking built in. Essentially, the mechanism of the blockchain is a ledger that once you can intelligently connect that to a payment system like a Bitcoin connected to a payment system like a card that you swipe to pay for gas, it'll completely revolutionize the financial sector of industry in the West.
Yeah. I knew you had something in you. I think I saw you chatting earlier when I was doing financial stuff earlier in the day. We were talking about crypto. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's part of the big change is people go into that. And yeah, banks can use it too. Everybody can use it. It makes it so you don't have to pay somebody else to handle your money, basically. I mean,
yeah, they're small, like mining fees and things like that. But right. Essentially, it takes away all this computing infrastructure that we have in place right now, and we replace it with the blockchain, and things like Ethereum allow you to build apps around that, and that in itself right. is also extremely powerful.
Yeah.
I think if you talked about crypto on Steemit, you get a lot of traction there. That seems to be really popular on that platform.
Yeah, maybe I realized that too on Steemit or on DTube. Maybe I should maybe I could do a call-in show about it that could be interesting, or I can definitely get good guests, I think, too. People want to talk about crypto. So I should probably think about doing that, particularly for Steemit, like you said, because I have thoughts about it. I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm real bullish on it for the future. I'm kind of with you, as it's going to change the world, Or
yeah, even right now, it has value as like a bearer instrument where it can hold value, much like gold or a bearer bond.
Right. Exactly. As long as you believe that somebody will want to buy it, that there is demand for it. But I think we've shown that there is some underlying value, that people believe there is some underlying value to it, which has to do with the algorithm and how secure it is. And they're not going to make, and how much currency there's going to be and all that. It's a form of sound money at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been generally accepted. It's been generally accepted after about 10 years.
Yeah.
So it sounds like my voice is breaking up, so I'm going to let you go.
Okay, cool, man.
But I just want to say what's up, and
Thanks.
I appreciate your work. So,
Thanks, Chronic.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Cool, that's nice. See, I knew exactly the question to ask him. You can't buy crypto with PayPal. I think you can cash out with PayPal. You get it on Coinbase. Get on Coinbase. I think like LiteCoin and Ripple and maybe Ether are all probably good investments right now, because after the Bitcoin fork, Bitcoin's going to go down and then the other stuff's going to go up. Wow, I'm getting calls. Cool. Great. This is Nathan. You're on the air.
Nathan,
Hey.
what's up, brother? It's Sly.
Hey, Sly. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great, buddy. Long time no talk. I followed you over. I've actually been followed you over. I just haven't got a chance to call in yet. But I wanted to call, and I wanted to encourage other people to call too. Nathan doesn't bite. The only person you be talking to is just you and him, and just know that not everybody's like-minded in the chat, but for the most part, everybody's open-minded, and you have nothing to worry about, brother. So I missed most of the show. I just got off of work, and I had a couple questions for you, and I'll start with my comment first. And when I tell you my comment, I'll move on to my questions, and then whichever order you want to go ahead and answer them in, you can do so, and I'll go ahead and take it off the air. But my comment was, since I haven't talked for a while, I know everybody's probably getting exhausted over this whole NFL kneeling thing, and I've just kind of been a little observant about it. And to me, the reason why I observe baseball and basketball a lot, and I notice that they don't really do it, and I think it's because there are a lot of immigrants in those sports, and they know what it's like coming from a country where there's not much opportunity, and coming and being able to maximize their talents, to be able to support their family and everything else. And unfortunately, most football players in the National Football League are American, and they're from here. And we, in our society, I mean, there's a lot of people that feel entitlement. I don't know, that's just an observation I made. And a couple of the questions that I had was, one, have you brought up or talked about or researched all the missing foster children from Kansas yet?
No, I
that's
haven't.
one.
Let me take notes.
No, you haven't? Okay, yeah. Check that out for sure. The other one is this morning, I saw a very, very interesting video from High Impact Flicks, and he had a gentleman who basically put on YouTube the recording that he had from his room, and he was actually at I forget where he was at, but the whole topic of his video was that they were recording outside of their hotel, which was directly across the street from the Hooters. And I kid you not. Yeah, I kid you not. 10. There was 6, and then there was 10, and then there was 15 ambulances that pulled up and were just taking people out of that Hooters. Now, that's at the same exact time that the shooting was going on at the concert. So something's going on there. And then one other thing. You being a Californian, you now reside here, so I consider you a Californian. You living here now, bud? Knowing that all these drills that they seem to perform, they just seem to magically happen at the time that they're doing it. We currently, I'm not sure when it is, it might be in a week or two, but we have a statewide earthquake drill. Do you think there's anything to that?
The one that already happened, you mean, right? The one that was the other day?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. They were doing one 2 hours before the earthquake in Mexico City. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Actually. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. I read it in an article that was talking about the California drill, and it was like, oh, coincidentally, Mexico City had been doing one, and 2 hours later, they got hit with a earthquake. So I don't know if there's anything to it. It's a trip. Like I saw a FEMA drill once that in advance, this one called Cascadia, where they were doing a 9.1 earthquake simulation drill. FEMA was, and I was freaking. I was like, oh my God, they're going to make an earthquake, and so it's hard to predict. It's hard to predict. But I'll show the video from that you're talking about. Somebody sent it to me. Maybe it was you. And I was looking at it. The only thing is, I listen to the radio a lot and stuff, and Hooters seem to be. And I listened to one of the interviews with people. Hooters seemed to be one of the locations that was nearest like for people to evacuate too when they were headed east
like a
away from
staging
the
point
shooting.
almost.
It became almost like that. Like I think a lot of the
triage?
wounded
Right.
went there. I want to listen to the radio more, but I wasn't that surprised given that I think a lot of people were walking to Hooters. And we even had and this interview I played of this other guy who sounded pretty credible, talking about that they headed toward Hooters first, and then he didn't want to go inside because he thought they'd be trapped. But he said that was like almost the first place they ran into. So it must be its proximity to the event. There were a few places where all the dead and wounded ended up. But anyway, it seems like well, do you think it was a hoax or anything?
You know what, dude? I think something terribly went wrong. I just looking, I mean, I just think back to Lee Harvey Oswald, man, and I look at this guy, and I don't know. I mean, nobody really knows this guy. I mean, is he real? His brother sounds like a kook himself. This whole hotel room to me was set up like a gun fair, man, like a gun show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, automatics over here, handguns over here, rifles over here. Come and take a look. You know, buy what you want. And I don't know if they just got him off during that. I really don't know, dude. I mean, there's so much speculation out, and to be honest, I think that's part of the tactic. I think that's an FBI tactic to muddy the waters a little bit, to where everybody is just so damn confused. You don't know what to believe, and you just pretty much give up about it.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that a little bit on the show tomorrow. I'm going to talk about all this Vegas stuff, and we'll see if we can figure anything out. But that's true. And that there was an article I read about it, a blog post by John Rappaport, where he talked about it, because there were crisis actors, but I also think people were shot and killed. I mean, I really do. I think there's enough evidence to say that happened, but either way, it seems like there's fake, you know, they're intentionally putting out disinformation, even with these crisis actors, trying to muddy the waters, like you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't want to fight over
so
it.
Too. And it wouldn't be so far off to, I mean, it's like okay, I'll tell you something that's kind of tripped me out or a little bit, just a thought that I've had run through my head. What if they were crisis actors and they were all staged in a certain location, and that's where they ended up firing first? Because if you're a crisis actor, I mean, what are you going to come out and admit, oh, yeah, sorry, we were all acting the whole time, but some of the actors ended up getting shot? I mean, man, I don't know, bud. I really don't know.
Well, I think the main thing is to keep exposing it, and just that there are lies going on, you know, and I think there are big lies that people see with them not doing press conferences anymore, with that ridiculous appearance of Jesus Campos on Ellen. I think people are pretty freaked out. So maybe we'll find out when I'm back on YouTube, like how many people are interested still in this story. But I think definitely, you know, we have to keep pressing it for sure. So
definitely, and there's a big, important, very important word being kicked around right now that people are using more and more, and that's discernment. You know what I mean? People they're starting to get it, man. They're starting to get it. They're starting to wake up a little bit. My wife's the worst one. I'll admit to you. I can't talk to her. I will show her an MIT article from Harvard about chemtrails that they admitted. With the weather balloon, you know, it started with the weather balloon, put the chemicals or the metals in the atmosphere or the ionosphere, whatever they're trying to do, and she doesn't believe it. She won't let me show her proof. It's nothing, you know what I mean? So it's like with somebody like that, it's almost a debate, you know. And I try not to make it an argument, you know, but sometimes it's a debate, and it's like, man, just let me show it. Like I have, like, they're telling you right here, like, how are you not going to believe that? No, I don't believe it.
I know.
Like, all right,
tough.
I don't know what to tell you then.
It's tough. Well, maybe this Vegas thing. Sometimes something comes along that regular people start to see.
She's the type of a little bit, and I know what she was. So I asked her, she thought of it. It was kind of cute the way that she answered it. He wanted to be famous and wanted to get his name in the news, so decided to shoot everybody. It's like, nah, man, that doesn't happen.
That's what they make. That's, you know, they've gotten us conditioned, so we think that explanation makes sense because they've given that explanation before.
My wife is proof, man.
Yeah, it's conditioning. Yeah, all right. Well,
thank you so much, but hey, Please stay on, Nathan.
Oh, I will.
Thank you so much for everything you do, bud. I really appreciate you, man.
Thanks. I appreciate you.
You are my absolute. You're my favorite, bro. If you're on YouTube, I go to YouTube. You're off of YouTube now. I barely even go to YouTube. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah, that's cool, man. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. Thank you, man.
All right. Cheers. That's nice. Yeah, people are still supportive. We're gonna we'll still be. I will be Big Star. We got a few phone calls. It's great. I don't think there are that many people tuned in even. I'm surprised I got a couple phone calls. 59 people tuned in. It's great. Why not? I'll stay tuned just in case we get one more. And then I'll take off. And then I'll think about, I'm going to check. I'll be up at midnight. I'm going to check. Look at that. Crazy. This is Nathan. You're on the air. Hello? You're on the air.
What? Oh. How's it going, Nathan?
Hey, what's up?
I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
No, I'll skip it. But it beeped at me when I called.
Sorry. Well, I don't know why it beeped at you. What's going on, man? What's your question?
Do you... How do I say this? What do you think of the idea of this whole Vegas thing being a psyop and not just... I noticed something funny after it happened, and that was everyone was saying where Paddock's history or origin was. And that was my algorithm said that he was a lone shooter or a lone wolf, you know that term, and then someone else has said that theirs said ISIS, and then someone else's stream said that he was Muslim.
Right.
I wanted to say Muslim because I think that's funny. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but
Right,
I just like it.
That's cool. Muslim.
Anyway, so I mean,
I understand.
I kind of proposed, and I tried asking you this the other day in chat, and that was, what if it was real, but we're getting all this fake footage from like a bigger company, someone who's trying to fight the mainstream media.
Oh, you mean multiple players? Oh, that the fake footage is from somebody other than the people who really did the event, you mean? Man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
I really couldn't say.
You and the news articles that say about how they're trying to cover their asses and not get sued.
Right.
Those type of articles don't normally pop up for hoax. You know what I mean? It's like they say it and they give it a lot of attention, but then they don't
Right.
follow up with it.
Right.
They're following up with all this other stuff. And I still haven't seen any proof of anyone hit. I mean, that guy walking, there's a brachial artery there. And I didn't see an outside of the gunshot going from the arm, from the outside of the arm to the inside of the arm. Plus, he looked like he had a blood pack on his right wrist. And at first, I thought it was his watch, but he had a metal watch on his left wrist. So, I mean...
Mm-hmm. Well, interesting. I thought it seemed pretty... I was pretty convinced by it. But I'm trying to get to the point where, because there's a lot of debate over it, I don't want to be the one who's dogmatic in saying for sure that people died. But I do feel like I've seen enough evidence that I really do think people died. And there's so much eyewitness testimony and stuff. And the police radio, which I've really listened to the whole thing. It's hard to believe it's all made up. And a lot of it has to do with taking victims to the hospital and so on and so forth. But I don't want to be too dogmatic about it, because the main thing is exposing the cover-up, and we still need to do that. Still needs to be done, because people are still interested and nobody's talking about. Well, it's great we saw that one article. Are you saying you think just the fact that an article came out means there might be another group trying to expose it, or what?
You see, that's what I'm curious if this is a psyop of some sort, because I also tried to ask you. Sandy Hook is the one thing I haven't looked. Well, it's one of the few things I haven't looked at. Mm-hmm. I saw a screenshot of it, but that was about it. But what if it was part of that? Just the war on mainstream media. What if I mean, if we were at a concert, I wouldn't whip out my phone. I'd get the hell out of there. So I can't necessarily say that there should be footage, or if people are going to have the stomach to take pictures of it.
Right, exactly. Like, it was almost odd seeing the footage that I thought was real. Because what are you doing, taking your cell phone out? You know, unless you're a journalist. Like, I would do it because because I'd think, oh, I need to document this, you know. But but there probably weren't any of those people there, I guess. And I do think the piece of evidence I found there was pretty convincing to me. And then, but they are trying to make it seem fake. And there's, I've gotten information to Sandy Hook. Go ahead and look into it. It's really fake. I mean, there's some stuff like the famous thing is Robbie Parker, the father, laughing as he's getting ready to give this really sad speech about his son dying. And as if he's about to go on stage or something, like an actor. And then this coroner coming out and talking about the dead bodies is just absolutely absurd. So it seems totally fake, the Sandy Hook thing. But I've also heard that there were things in that intentionally made to make it look fake. And I've had somebody tell me people died at Sandy Hook. Now, if they did, so this is just a wild theory, it could have been a sacrifice, like a blood sacrifice where they did kill the kids, like in a sacrifice or something. I don't think Adam Lanza came in and shot him up in the school. I don't think there's any chance. But there could have been people died some other way. So I'm looking at all this stuff. I have an open mind. Just want to expose that it's a cover up and that something's really wrong and that they're lying to us, you know, for sure.
Yeah. Right. But that's kind of what I'm saying. We'll use Sandy Hook as an example because Black Lives Matter. There, this one real fast. The mainstream media and even they didn't show anything but pretty much peaceful protests. When you went online, it showed something totally different.
I see. Sort of like when I got my phone stolen from me. All the news reports were that San Francisco was a totally peaceful, awesome protest, and I was there getting it, and the people weren't necessarily that peaceful, and they assaulted me. It seemed to be kind of a one-off for what happened in San Francisco, but yeah, I understand what you're saying there.
And that's what I'm saying about the Sandy Hook thing as well. What if it was real, but someone said that they're have the true video or the real video, and it was just to get us like a political stunt. I don't know about the blood sacrifice thing. You think you'd want to keep that at a down low somehow, like a water tank explosion.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how it all works. Like I said, I think the main thing is just exposing the lies, you know, the things that we can find that are lies.
Yeah, it's just been on my mind lately about how this could be some sort of a psyop. Maybe
it's some kind
thing. I don't know.
It's some kind of big psyop. I'm trying to unwind it.
Yeah, because there's definitely a push on both sides to say it's real or it's fake, when normally it would have been out of the news by now.
You mean in the conspiracy realm? There's a push to say whether it's real or whether it's fake, or in the news.
Yeah.
In the news, yeah, there is, and I don't want to. I want to try to go above that fight, even though I'm inclined to try to convince people now that people really did die, because I really think that's what my information says. But I want to make sure that I don't know that that's the most important thing. And I think I think even if people died, the numbers probably aren't real. They're probably way overinflated, and maybe not that many people died and got hurt. But who knows? But yeah, we're trying to deconstruct this whole thing and figure out what it's all about if we can. But in the meantime, really just keep pounding, asking questions and getting people to think about it and what they think really happened, and maybe who Stephen Paddock might have been, and what the cops might have done, what the motivations were, etc. Kind of pick at it.
Mm-hmm. I think it was you, but it might have been someone else. But did you look at the comments? I think it was the Ellen Show on YouTube saying that it was fake or something.
Oh yeah, that's what I pointed out. Is that underneath the Good Morning America clip
That's
of
what
the
it
Ellen
is.
show, man, it was like everybody said it was fake. It was all, this is fake. Stop lying to us. All kinds of thumbs down. I mean, it was really something to see. And I might be able to pull that up again. It was really something to see that so many people are awake to this. And then I haven't looked around for conspiracy stuff on Las Vegas recently to see if there's anything even out there anymore. Jesus, what's his last name? Jesus Campos, right?
Campos?
Yeah, Ellen Jesus Campos.
Campos.
Let me just take a look. Here it is on the Ellen Show. I just want to see that got 841,000 views, and they gave it. It's still got a bunch of thumbs down, but more thumbs up. It looks comments disabled. Yeah, so they inflated the thumbs up, but it's still got almost 7,000 thumbs down and 11,000 thumbs up. But they disabled the comments. I wonder if the MGM still has their thing up. Yeah, here's the Good Morning America one. Let me see if they still have their comments up open. That one has 843 thumbs down and only 100 thumbs up. And yeah, the comments I think are still there. How cool is that? Yeah.
I'm going to look into that because I started tracing bots during the election.
Uh-huh.
Like, a lot of people don't know how to mess with their privacy settings.
Right.
By the way, I know who everybody is.
Right.
And, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, if you click on people who comment, I was noticing that they were only going to left-wing liberal sites.
Oh,
and
okay.
they were commenting like 2 seconds after the video was posted.
Oh, okay.
Calling them liars and other crap. So, I mean,
Oh, really?
it's another alley.
Yeah. Okay, you're finding that. Yeah, I had that. That stuff happens with like when I was covering Hampstead. You'd get or even moon landing sometimes. You'd get, as soon as you post a video, you'd have 20 negative comments from the same type of people, right away, and it couldn't possibly be real. That kind of thing is common.
Bots, yeah.
The bots. Yeah. They've been laying off me, but what is there to do anymore? I think I've defeated them with my mind, though.
I think it was just those other people that got into it with you.
Oh, you mean, like All Seeing You and stuff. Yeah, it could have been. It was a lot of trolls and the people getting into it with me, yeah. But there still are people getting into it with me, but not as much because I'm not covering their hot button stuff right now.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
All right, good call. Thanks, Espada. Thanks for the call, man.
Take it easy, bud.
All right, cheers. Okay, that was 3 calls. The phone's been open the whole time. $10:21. Tomorrow, live show. Oh, do you think I can get away with doing it early? I was thinking I might do to see if people are tuning in big numbers. I might go long because I'm going to delete it after. Do you think I could go earlier on the air? You think it would matter? I might start early. I might start at 11:11 Pacific time. So watch out for that. Subscribe to that channel. Oh, well, you're subscribed here. You'll get the notification. I might start at 11:11, but we'll see. We'll see if I can go live, and I'll cut a promo maybe at midnight. Okay, great. 3 calls is a perfect number. We're still selling T-shirts. Orders are going well. We're selling out, or will sell out for sure, for real. Getting orders and orders and orders. That you go, if you want to do that, go to lifttheveil411.com. Lifttheveil411.com. And it's the only thing you can buy on the website. I'll show you. Let me see. There, I'll show you. This website right here. And then just go to this first edition T-shirt black, and it's great. You get like it's signed, stamped. You get a special tag with it and everything, numbered, 1 out of 50, limited edition. And then the white design might be coming next. But I'm going to start shipping those out to Europe tomorrow. I have the bags and everything I need. So Europe, we're going to start sending those out tomorrow. And then USA will start sending them out by the beginning of next week, we think. From the USA. So that's it. That's it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching my show. And thanks for watching the show tomorrow. We're going to try to see if we can do something. Get more people over here to Twitch and stuff. Meanwhile, think right. you know? Think right. Seek and you shall find. See you tomorrow, everybody. Cheers.